My ex wanted to meet for closure, but planned to falsely accuse me. So I said, let's meet at my friend's coffee shop. I brought my lawyer, secretly recorded her, and she got arrested trying to make a scene. And honestly, even now as I sit here typing this, I still can't fully believe the last year of my life actually happened. It feels like one of those chaotic Reddit stories you read at 2 a.m. and think, nah, nobody goes through all that until life hands you a reality check so brutal that you're left blinking at your own reflection, wondering how you missed every red flag waving right in your face. My name's Ethan, and for 2 years I thought I was building a future with a woman named Madison, a woman who, at least in the beginning, felt like the kind of person you could trust with your heart, your plans, even your dumb jokes during long car rides. Turns out she was also the kind of person who could smile at you while plotting how to dismantle your reputation from the inside out. We broke up 3 months before the whole closure incident. The breakup itself wasn't explosive. It was quiet. Too quiet. She just said she needed space. Her eyes wouldn't meet mine. Her phone kept buzzing face down on the table. She'd been distant for weeks. Longer showers, sudden work emergencies, new lingerie that definitely wasn't for me, and that guilty kindness people develop when they're preparing to crush you softly. I should have known. I mean, you always think back later and see the signs lit up like Vegas at night. But when you love someone, your brain becomes this filter that highlights the best parts and dims the pieces you don't want to acknowledge. And Madison, well, she was very good at letting me believe exactly what she wanted me to. When we ended things, she didn't cry. She didn't fight. She didn't ask for a second chance. She just nodded like she'd been relieved. I finally said it first. I walked out of that apartment knowing something was off. But I didn't realize how deep her betrayal went until 2 weeks later, when I got a text from an unknown number containing screenshots. Screenshots of her bragging to someone named Dylan about how she finally got rid of him and was done pretending. That hurt, sure, but nowhere near as much as the messages about money. How she'd been secretly using my car for months. How she'd been telling her friends I would control him to justify it. How she planned to destroy him completely if he tries anything. I remember staring at my phone thinking, destroy me? For what? For being decent? For trusting you? But you can't apply logic to someone who treats reality like a suggestion. I contacted a lawyer, Mark, an older, calm guy with a voice so steady you'd think he was carved out of oak. He told me to freeze anything she had access to, change passwords, save everything. I did. Things went quiet after that. No texts, no calls, no social media drama. Almost like she'd evaporated. I even started healing a little. Therapy, gym, reconnected with old friends. But peace never lasts when someone like her feels like they've lost control. My warning came in the form of my co-worker, Jenna, knocking on my office door during lunch. She held her phone up with this pale, horrified expression. Ethan, look. It was a post, public, from Madison. If anything happens to me, it's because of my abusive ex. I'm scared. He's dangerous. My name wasn't mentioned, but it didn't have to be. Everyone knew who her ex was. I swear my heart stopped for a second. That kind of accusation, even implied, it can ruin your whole life before you even realize people have turned against you. I called Mark immediately, panic spreading through me like cold water. He told me to stay calm, stay quiet, do nothing reactive. If she wants attention, she'll escalate, he said. And escalation leaves evidence. God, he was right, because 3 days later, she texted me out of nowhere. Can we talk? I owe you closure. Closure, the most suspicious word in the English language. I wasn't stupid, but I was also curious, and honestly a little tired of feeling like I was hiding from a ghost. I asked Mark. He told me he didn't love it, but if I had to meet her, it should be on my terms. Public, witnesses, a controlled environment, and I should record everything. So I picked the safest place I knew, a coffee shop owned by my friend Lucas. Someone who'd known me since middle school, the kind of guy who'd tackle a burglar, but also cry at Pixar movies. He immediately agreed to keep an eye on things, even offered to reserve a back corner table near the security cameras. I didn't tell Madison any of that. I just said, sure, tomorrow, for PM, She replied instantly with a smiley face. That alone told me everything I needed to know. The next day, I showed up early with Mark at my side. He dressed casual but carried the same calm authority that made judges listen when he spoke. He clipped a tiny recording device inside my jacket, and Lucas had synced his cameras to store footage separately in case anything accidentally got deleted. Meanwhile, I sat there trying not to shake, because no matter how prepared you are, confronting someone who's actively trying to destroy you is like standing at the edge of a cliff during a storm. You're steady until a gust of wind reminds you how easy it is to fall. Madison walked in right on time. She looked polished, too polished, hair curled, full makeup, a white blouse that made her look soft and innocent. But her eyes? Sharp, calculating, like she was assessing every corner of the room. She didn't expect Mark. I saw the flicker in her expression before she forced a smile. "Oh, you brought your lawyer?" "You asked for closure," I said. "I figured it's safer to have clarity." Her jaw tightened. She sat down anyway. At first, she tried to play sweet. Said she missed me. Said she'd been confused. Said she regretted everything. I didn't say much. Neither did Mark. We let her talk. You learn a lot when a manipulative person thinks they're directing the scene. But then, right on cue, she shifted. Her voice wavered. She said she felt scared of how angry I'd been. Said she hoped today wouldn't go badly. Mark raised an eyebrow, and I felt this cold, sinking certainty in my stomach. She was setting the stage. Then came the moment I'll never forget. She reached across the table, touched her cheek with her fingertips, and whispered just loud enough, "Please don't do this again." Again, as in, implying I'd hurt her before. I literally froze. Mark sat forward slightly. Lucas, watching from the counter, stiffened. And then, God, I swear time slowed. She knocked over her own iced latte, grabbed her face, and let out this blood-curdling scream. "Stop. Ethan, stop." The entire cafe went silent. People stared. Chairs scraped. Someone gasped. She stumbled backward, clutching her cheek like I'd struck her. If I hadn't been prepared, if Lucas hadn't been filming, if Mark hadn't been right there, it would have been over for me. Because her performance? Oscar-worthy. A barista called 911. She pretended to collapse. People rushed over. A couple of customers glared at me like I was a monster. And Madison, lying dramatically on the floor, kept sobbing. I knew he'd hurt me again. I shouldn't have come. Please don't let him near me. Mark stood up calmly, nodded to Lucas, and said, "Time to step in." Lucas brought over security footage on his tablet. Mark asked the bystanders politely to look. Then he hit play. No strike. No aggression. Just Madison throwing her own drink, smacking her own face, staging the whole thing. The shift in the room was immediate. People who glared at me now stared at her with disgust. She realized the act had failed and started scrambling, literally crawling toward the door like she could escape the truth chasing her. The police arrived seconds later. Mark greeted them like old friends and handed them everything. Her messages, her previous posts, her attempt at framing me. And in front of half a dozen witnesses, 2 officers lifted her from the floor and cuffed her hands behind her back. She screamed, cursed, cried, tried to twist the narrative even as they read her rights. But nobody bought it anymore. Watching someone you once loved get arrested is not satisfying. Not really. It's surreal. It's heartbreaking in a weird, numb way. It's like watching a stranger wearing your ex's face. She kept yelling my name as they pulled her out the door. I didn't say a word. Later, the officers told us they'd seen cases like this before, but rarely this calculated. She was charged with filing a false report, attempted fraud, defamation, harassment. The list felt endless. Her parents tried contacting me. I blocked them. She emailed Mark claiming I'd ruined her life. Mark forwarded it to the detective. I wish I could say I felt triumphant or relieved, but all I felt was tired, bone-deep tired, like pieces of me had been chewed through and rearranged. Healing wasn't instant. It wasn't even linear. Some nights, I woke up thinking someone was standing in my room. Some days I'd flinch when my phone buzzed. It took months before I stopped double-checking my surroundings in public. But here's the part that matters. I'm still here. She didn't win. She didn't take my life, even though she tried. And if someone reading this is dealing with a manipulator, or even suspects they are, listen, document everything. Protect yourself. Trust your instincts. And never underestimate how far a person who feels they're losing control will go. I got my closure, just not in the way she expected.